After someone leaves you, the cruelest part is not always that they're gone, it is what your mind does after they leave. It starts holding a trial, and somehow you are the only person on trial. At 3 in the morning, your brain wakes you up and starts reading the charges. Was I too needy? Was I too ordinary? Was I too serious? Did I give too much too soon? And if they chose someone else later, your mind turns that into proof that your love was not worth keeping. But today, we are going to put that sentence on trial. Because sometimes someone does not leave because your love was too weak. Sometimes they leave because your love was too steady, too honest, too unfamiliar, too different from the kind of pain they learned to call normal. This is not about pretending you were perfect, and it is not about turning the other person into a villain. It is about a painful truth. Some people do not reject love because they do not need it. They reject love because they only recognize the kind that hurts them. Now, let us be honest. The sentence, "they left because you were too good," can sound ridiculous. It sounds like something a friend says when they have run out of ideas. You were too good for them. They just could not handle you. And when you are hurting, that can almost feel insulting. Because your mind says, if I was so good, why did they leave? If my love was so rare, why did they not protect it? So we are not using this idea as a soft blanket. We are asking a harder question. Why would someone run from the thing they once said they wanted? The first answer is simple but brutal. People are not only drawn to what is healthy, they are drawn to what is familiar, and familiar can be painful. If someone learned love through distance, criticism, mixed signals, or sudden withdrawal, steady love may not feel peaceful. It may feel strange, suspicious, almost too quiet. You reply on time, you listen carefully, you say what you mean. You do not disappear just to make them chase you. And instead of relaxing, they become tense. Not because you are doing something wrong, but because their inner map has no safe place for this. Their system knows chasing. It knows guessing. It knows waiting for someone's mood to change. But steady care, that can feel like a language they never learned. So when they pull away, they may call it pressure. They may say they need space or that something feels off. But underneath those words, they may be mistaking safety for danger. This is why kindness is not always enough to make someone stay. Kindness has to be received, and some people have never learned how to receive it without fear. The second answer is more painful. Your seriousness can trigger a question they cannot tolerate. Do I deserve this? When you remember small things, choose them without games, and stay gentle during hard conversations, they may not only feel loved, they may feel exposed. A part of them may think, they are only this kind because they do not really know me yet. One day they will be disappointed and leave too. So maybe I should leave first. That is the tragedy. You may be offering security, but they may be experiencing it as a countdown. From the outside, it looks like they did not care. But sometimes the person who runs is not calm. They are afraid of being known, depending on something stable, and receiving a love they do not feel ready to hold. This does not excuse what they did, and it does not mean you should chase them, but it may help you understand something important. Some people do not leave because you failed to give them safety. They leave because your safety makes it harder for them to keep hiding from themselves. The third answer is this. Your goodness may have exposed their old patterns. Not their evil, not their weakness, their patterns. In a familiar but unhealthy connection, people know the role. They know how to chase, how to withdraw, and how to keep everything shallow enough to survive. But when someone loves them steadily, the old roles stop working. If you do not abandon them, what do they do with their expectation of abandonment? If you listen instead of attacking, what do they do with the part of them that only knows how to defend? If you stay calm, what do they do with the chaos they were prepared for? Your love becomes a mirror, and not everyone is ready for that mirror. Sometimes your tenderness shows someone how guarded they are. Your steadiness shows them how unstable they feel inside. And when that happens, they may not say, "I am scared because your love is asking me to become more real." They may say, "You are too much. This is too serious." Sometimes those words are true, but sometimes they are the only language a person has for a panic they do not understand. Here is the part you need to hear clearly. Love is not an exam where, if you answer every question correctly, the person has to stay. You can be kind, loyal, patient, and careful with someone's heart. and still be left by someone who does not know what to do with care that does not hurt. You may think you lost because you were not good enough, but sometimes you lost to a kind of chaos they understood better than your peace. And then comes the hardest part. They choose someone else, or they seem to move on quickly, and your mind starts comparing. Are they better looking? More exciting? Easier to love? This comparison can break you if you let it, because it assumes people always choose what is best for them, but they do not. People often choose what confirms their oldest emotional pattern. Someone used to distance may choose distance. Someone used to proving themselves may choose someone who keeps them proving. So if they move towards someone colder, less available, or more confusing, that does not automatically mean you were beaten by someone better. It may mean they returned to a pain that felt recognizable. So do not translate their choice as, "I lost to someone else." Sometimes you simply could not become the kind of harm they knew how to chase. But we need balance here. This video is not here to make you arrogant. It is not here to tell you that you had no flaws. Maybe you were anxious, overgave, or ignored your own boundaries because you were afraid they would leave. Those things matter. And if you want to grow, you should look at them honestly. But reflection is not the same as self-destruction. There is a difference between asking, "What can I learn?" and asking, "What is wrong with me as a person?" So yes, take responsibility for your part. But do not plead guilty for the parts that were never yours. You can own your growth without turning yourself into the villain of the whole story. And if you were left after loving someone sincerely, do not let that person teach you that sincerity is embarrassing. Do not let one person's fear of steadiness make you ashamed of being steady. The answer is not to become colder, confusing, or unavailable just because someone else seemed to prefer that. The answer is to become more discerning, to stop giving your tenderness to people who only know how to turn it into pressure, to stop becoming chaos just to be chosen by someone who only recognizes chaos. If your kindness was not cherished, do not throw it away too quickly. So the next time your mind wakes you up at 3 in the morning and starts reading the charges, ask it one more question. What if I was not rejected because I was worthless? What if the love I offered required a safety they were not ready for? What if I simply could not become the familiar pain they knew how to choose? That does not erase the loss, but it may stop you from suffering twice. Once because they left, and again because you decided their leaving proved you were unlovable. Do not do that to yourself. Being left is painful enough. Do not turn it into a life sentence against your own heart. You can be imperfect and still not deserve to be discarded. Sometimes the love you gave was not too little. Sometimes it was simply more stable than the other person knew how to receive. And if that is true, your task is not to become less loving. It is to stop handing your love to people who only know what to do with pain. Do not become chaos just to be chosen by someone who is afraid of peace. Keep your warmth. Keep your steadiness. Keep your heart. Just learn where it can actually be held.